Kimberly, welcome to the Retail Whore Podcast. God, I'm like catching up. How are you?
Great. Thank you so much for having me. I'm very excited to be here and get a chance to talk about our subscription box. So
I'm
thank
so
you very,
excited.
very much for having me.
We've had quite a few people from the UPP, and you are actually the first person that has a tangible product. When I met you, you were on the hot seat. You had to get up in front of a crowd of 100-something women and pitch your product. And I absolutely fell in love with your product. And I was so excited that when I reached out to you like a crazy person running across the aisle to say, hi, I want to have you on the podcast, that you accepted. And it's like, I'm so excited to talk about this because it's not in the industry and it's so needed. And I love that you created it.
Thank you so much.
So
Um, it, you go ahead. Sorry.
tell everybody a little bit about yourself and your brand, and then we're going to work backwards.
Sure. So my name's Kim Evans. I am a designer and owner of the I Do box. So it is a fully inclusive wedding subscription box. We're located about an hour outside of Toronto, so up in Canada, but we are excited to be able to ship to US and Canada, which was a whole other thing to figure out, but
Yeah.
such is the world of products.
Uh,
Um, yeah. I have been in weddings for about 20 years or so. My background is in floral design and event design, and then transitioned into photography, where my husband and I are photographers. And then this has been just a little passion project that we've had that it's taken about 2 years to get to this stage. And it was just really something that was always kind of niggling in my head of just why wasn't there an inclusive option for things? And it was just sort of there was definitely like a bit of products and availability of products that was just really leaving a big part of the population out. So that's sort of where it started.
I love because there with gay marriages and partnerships, it's like it is shocking to me. And I take it back. We have had one other person with the product on from UPP, and much like this product, she has party goods for brown and black children, and they're completely unrepresented when you go to a party store. You're doing the same exact thing, but for gay couples that are getting married. And I love that so much. And I don't understand why it hasn't been represented. Obviously parts of the country are not, unfortunately, on board, but there's a large, large population that is. And why do you think it hasn't been represented?
It's a real surprise if you've ever gone looking for even like a card, a wedding card, or something like that. The language of weddings is so women heavy. So it's so bridal. Just everything you think of a bridal, bridesmaid, you know, bridal gowns, like just everything has the word bride in it. And it can be really excluding for a lot of people. There's just not a place for it, and there's not the same level of celebration. And we found this so many times in photography and in events where you were getting emails and requests and leads and things from a same-sex couple, and they were almost asking like, is it okay, like just want you to know that we're a same-sex couple, and is that okay? And I was thinking, well, like, that has nothing to do with me. You've got nothing to ask permission for.
Yeah.
So when we were looking at developing a product, or at least a subscription box, which I was really into, kind of, I like the idea of kind of receiving happy mail and that kind of thing, and having that really steady stream of revenue for us. Um, I looked at what was out there, and it was, a lot of light pink, a lot of like, you're going to have the perfectest day, you're the most beautiful bride,
Uh,
very like frilly and I think really just pretty old school as far as like what our couples are currently looking for. Our couples are all like doing their own thing. They're all bright colors, they're all really, and whether it's an gay or lesbian or other couple, um our same sex and our opposite sex couples are all looking for inclusivity. They're all really asking for all of their vendors to be inclusive regardless of whether that would apply to them or not. So I find that just as important to be able to offer it for same-sex couples. They're also looking for that allyship as well, and just kind of um, that you want to include everyone. And I think that for a lot of our couples, that's so important.
oh, absolutely. I mean, it's like everybody else gets to have their special day, and for some reason, it's very watered down for others. And it's so, I have a ton of friends that are married and that are same-sex couples, and you want, their celebrations have felt very different, and I think they're beautiful the way they have handled them. But some of them, it's like, it's true, like when it gets to the cards, like what card do you give? And I think again, that's why this sounded so amazing to me, and because I know that it doesn't exist in the industry. So tell me a little bit about, how did you end up in weddings? Is that what did you go to school for, and how did you end up in weddings altogether?
I went to school for textile design.
Mm.
So, which does not have a huge market in Canada, of course. And I ended up making costumes for a season at a Shakespeare festival.
Oh,
I know. And I was on like a contract. And when my contract ended, I didn't really know what I wanted to do. And I ended up working in hotels and falling kind of into like the sales and marketing side of hotels and just working my way up. And that's where I was kind of first exposed to weddings. They're really like creative and fun. I mean, weddings in general, people are really happy. It's
yeah.
a really good time in their life. It's not the usual to have kind of a really sad vibe about it. So for me, I'm like happy and bubbly, and there was a lot of creativity in that field. So that's kind of, I started making favors for a friend who were getting married, and then just kind of fell into that. Ended up decorating some weddings and just kind of built on and on and on and on from there. Um,
You've kind of done it all, especially now that you're a photographer as well. I mean, it sounds like you literally have done it all.
yeah, I've made my way around the wedding industry, that's for sure.
When you started thinking about this box, how did the process go? I mean, you knew there was obviously something missing, but how did you decide, and what was the process of creating this?
Like I wish I had a really like momentous light bulb moment um that I could fall back on. I just loved the idea of creating a subscription box. I bought what was out there. I had them delivered. I got the emails. I kind of saw what it was all about. And my gut reaction was just to go against all of that as hard as I could, because it was just very frilly, very like cheap, quick manufacture,
Yeah.
nothing had any real like heart and soul to it. And it was just cringy, like the language that was there. And it was like it wasn't purposely exclusive, but in this day and age, it felt like it was under, like they're still living under a rock.
Yeah.
And it was just um I love design, and I thought, you know what, I can design something great. Um and I just sort of blindly ran with the idea without looking back.
I love that. I love that. I have always said I have a very bad habit of jumping and like, where it's like, have you done this before? Yeah, absolutely. And it's like, no, I haven't. And it's like, I know I'll figure it out. Like I just, I so believe in taking risks and jumping. And I think that the people that do that, and there's not a safety net, and you learn trial by error, I think those are always the best experiences, products, yeah, whatever it is. It's always, I feel that the people that take a risk and just jump and do it.
I think by like this point in my life, I was thinking we have like some really successful businesses. I could afford the risk, which was really lucky. We I made like obviously like a plan. I didn't just like start going throwing money out willy-nilly, but um, I thought it was a great project to really like put my money where my morals were. And I think that that was just like it's given it such a greater purpose for me. And it's been, I mean, when I presented at UPP, and I always call it up, but I guess that that doesn't make any sense. When I had gotten a chance to present at it, and my husband and I, as far as photography, we have spoken at some big photography conferences and that kind of thing. So I was like, I wanted it so bad. And at that moment when I was standing up on the stage, and I kind of had to tell my story and kind of had to kind of share the experience of getting, obviously it's nothing like the couples that we have dealing with that are what they're dealing with. But from hearing from couples that they've been hung up on and just yelled at on the phone, and just these emails that we're getting, just kind of, you know, would we take their business? Because it was just like, it's so crazy to me. And it was like, it took kind of going up on stage, and like I was literally nearly crying, or I was crying. Um, that it just kind of really sunk in of how important the project was for me, and how important like providing an option for people and being able to like encourage that same level of celebration for all
Oh,
of couples. Just kind of like how I think how long it had been sitting with me, and how like important it was that I was doing it, and how special it was for me. So it was, some tears, and I was just like, I couldn't believe they said I wasn't confident, because I was like, in my everyday life, I'm like that girl. But it really took that to kind of, I think as an entrepreneur, you're always moving and pushing forward, and the next thing, and your next thing on your to-do list, and the next thing on your list, and you're checking things off, and you're kind of never looking back as much.
mhm.
And I don't often have a lot of time, especially like being in the wedding industry, to stop and kind of digest what you've just done, because there's always something else to happen.
Yeah.
So I think it was that moment where you're like, oh, okay, like I'm making this, it's important to me. And it was kind of like, it was almost a bit of a surprise of where I was, and just, okay, like, this is all happening.
I mean, your presentation was so great, but you could tell you knew the project, and you could tell you were confident in what it was. And I thought it was just nerves because you're talking in front of all these people. And I mean, I don't think I could pitch something, because I actually entertained the idea of pitching my platform, and I'm like, I have nothing to show for it right now. And there's no way, like, like, and I don't think I could go again. I can do this all day and talk about what I do as a brand for my main hustle, but what I'm creating is like, I'm not confident enough to talk about it. Like I talk about little bits about it, but it's like to talk about it in front of a crowd of people, like that to
It's a
me.
challenge.
It
It's such a challenge. It's like all your insides are on the outsides.
You were so honest and vulnerable, and I mean, you spoke from the heart. And like I said, because of what you're creating, it really resonated with me, because it's not, out there, and I don't understand. And I've always believed love is love, and everyone deserves to have a happy ending and their day to get married and have things that are appropriate and geared to them and their love and their marriage. And I just love that you were doing this. Tell me a little bit about, because you have not only created this, you also created another product, pop-up weddings for lovely weddings. Like what was that? And then I want to have go back and talk about your IG box and what is in the
Yes,
IG
of
box.
course. So pop-up weddings is it's basically like a one, if Instagram kind of took over your wedding, and it's sort of that bridge between you're going to City Hall and you're having the big to do. So what we do is basically set up a ceremony. We provide our team to cover it, and then couples book different times during the day. So they basically co-op our team and all the decor and everything like
Oh,
that. And then they have their own unique wedding. Their guests go, a new wedding comes in, it's all reset for them, and then they have that experience. And then we do that 7 times in a row on a day.
how did you come up with it? And it was, you did it, it's by Lovely Weddings. Is that another
Yeah.
brand under your belt?
Yeah, so that is like our wedding planning brand that we have. It it's the only thing it does is pop-ups because they've been really, really wonderful for us. And it just gives people all of the kind of wedding feels, and they leave feeling like they had a wedding. Um, but it's just kind of a condensed little bit of it. So
So it's just the wedding itself. It's not, they go off to a reception somewhere else.
right. Yep. So it's mostly the wedding ceremony. It's like I call it like the wedding ceremony plus. So the guests will come for the ceremony. We'll do the ceremony. We provide the officiant, the flowers. My husband will shoot it. And then they get to mingle and to have like a little toast after, do some family photos, and then we'll take the couple to do like a half an hour couple session. And then their guests will go, and then we'll reset and bring a new
That
couple
is brilliant. That seriously
in.
is brilliant. And that's only in Canada.
Correct. Yeah, because we have to physically be at it.
Yeah.
Our team can only go so far. But we do have an online course for it. So we do have a couple photographers who are just starting to do it in New York and Las Vegas, and a couple other places in Missouri, I think. So
I mean, that is
yeah, the
seriously,
concept will go forward.
that is so amazing. And how often do you do these?
We'll do about 15 dates a year between sort of a 3-hour radius.
And how long is there each couple's little event? If you're doing 7 a day, you said?
It's about an hour and a half. It's an hour and a half between start times. So, but the couples will have about an hour with us.
That is so fucking brilliant. Like, and you're also a coach. So is the coaching what you're doing is for that project, or are you coaching? What are you coaching people for weddings for creative?
So for coaching right now, we have an online course just for the pop-up. So because it's such a templated day, we can bring people through our system of how we kind of manage the day, all of our costings, everything like that. So they're kind of learning how to do our pop-up weddings in their state. It's actually quite a bit of US people. So it'll be coming down there.
Wow,
Definitely.
we have to have a link. Will you send Elisa this
Yeah.
information as well? Just so, because talking about this, I know people, I would love for people, if they're interested in doing something like this, to, do the course. Cause it's like, that's brilliant, actually. I mean, it's like, especially for the cost of weddings is just insane. Like, when my husband and I got married, it was 3 years ago in just about a week. And, it was like, it's my second wedding, his first, but we're in our 50s, and it's like, are we gonna throw ten to $20,000 at a one night event? And it's literally like one night. And I said, why don't we just put the money into our backyard? So we redid our whole backyard, and we had our whole wedding back here, and we had a mariachi band, and it was a taco cart. So it was like more like fun. But it was, I'm so glad we did that, because that we got married right before COVID hit. So we had this beautiful backyard that had been landscaped and fire pit put in and grass put in that Lisa
That was
spent.
perfect. Spend
Yeah.
a year at
Yeah,
home.
we don't own the house, but I was like, seriously, if we're gonna put that much money in a one night venue, I'd rather put it into a house that we're renting at least, and we can enjoy it. Is way longer, obviously, than one night at a venue. So, but I think that is like such a perfect solution for people that are wanting to not dump a ton of money into it and still having a pretty event and get everything you get with it and have a big
It's
party at the
just giving, it's just giving people another option. So if your dream wedding is the big to do with all of the things, then 100% you should do that big dream wedding. But there was nothing really in between. Your other option was like, I'm going to a city hall. And depending on your city hall could be beautiful, or it could be like, a modern brown box,
Yeah.
so there just wasn't anything kind of really in between. And it's just finding that space kind of for couples that still want to feel like they had a wedding and kind of have those memories, but want to either do something more affordable. They don't like planning. They didn't want to be stressed out. They wanted to enjoy their day. We get some couples because it's based on like a group of 20. Some like that it's a limit of 20. So no one else can invite too many people.
Yeah.
They get the small wedding that they wanted,
Yeah.
so there it's kind of giving that one different option. So it's generally like we get the most laid back couples. They're so awesome to deal with, like they're super chill. So we can't there it's a full business for us of just doing pop-ups in
It
addition to all the other
I
things.
love that your whole, like, your all of your companies are all based around weddings. Like, I can't, I mean, I think that's incredible, because there's a lot of people that have different side hustles, and it seems like some of them are completely random from each other, but it seems seamlessly that all of your brands all work so perfect. So it seems obviously perfect that the I Do box would be the next thing to roll out. So tell everyone, how does the subscription box work? Because I know the subscription box where you get the beauty brand box, and every month you get, lipstick and whatever. But tell me about how this works, because obviously you're not getting it for a year, because you're
Right.
getting married once. So tell everyone about how this works.
So we offer 3 and 6 month subscriptions. All of the products in the boxes are all designed by myself or my team. They're all super unique. You're not going to find them anywhere else. And it's a good mix of wedding sayings and wedding things, and then also just some really super products that you're going to be able to use afterwards. Like, who doesn't need a really great corkscrew, and just things like that. Not everything is filled with weddingness, but it's all stuff kind of when you're in that stage of your life. It's all things that you're going to use and you're going to need. So with how we're making everything inclusive is all of the wording that we've included is focused a lot around the words I do. So, our water bottle says I do hydrate, and things like that. So we're just really conscious to not include specifically overloading like the word bride or groom or anything like that. And then some of our products, if they do have the word brides, because we want brides to be excited and grooms to be excited and like everyone to be excited about it. If there's a bride vibes hat, there's also a groom vibes hat, and then there's also a non-gender specific. So there is a till death do us part hat. So If there's anything that is more gender specific, it would have the 3 different options so that when people are onboarding and then they're filling out their subscription, they're going ahead and they're choosing their titles of how they want to be referred. So Mr. and Mrs., Miss and Miss, Mr. and Mr., or we just prefer not to have any titles at all, which some, that's an option for everyone too, if you don't want, the words Mr. and Mrs. kind of all over your house too.
Yeah. So tell me what a 3-month, what is the first, so, okay, quick before, are people that buying them for themselves or are people giving them as gifts?
Some are definitely buying it for themselves, as that sort of happy mail surprise, and then they're just getting excited for their wedding. And then we have a lot of either bridal party is purchasing for like a shower, or it could be also parents as like Christmas gifts, things like that, where they're starting the subscription more towards a gift season. So I'd say a balance, but I mean, who doesn't want to buy it for themselves? But then also you'd want to pass the love and you can buy it for your friends as well.
So if I get a 3-month box, what does the first month box look like? I mean, how do you
Ooh,
mix it up?
So the first box is focused around you just got engaged and you're just excited. Let me just show you some of the items that are in the first month box. We do this with really great little stemless wine glass, which says just surviving wedding planning, one glass at a time. Because who doesn't need kind of a little bit of a break when you're doing wedding planning?
Yeah.
The first box also has our planner, which is I've written the entire thing.
Wow.
Fully inclusive 160-page planner. So you won't find the word bride, you won't find anything like that, and you'll have fully have the options to write in yourself, your party. We've just been really careful with the language. So when we talk about wedding party, it's my party and your party, attire, that kind of thing. It's got checklists, budget trackers,
Wow, that's phenomenal.
vendors, literally everything you could possibly need for your wedding, including like a day planner as well, where you can write in your own dates. So it doesn't matter when you decide to start. And in the back, towards the back, there's some like gratitude journaling, goal setting, travel. We just wanted it to be a real, your life isn't all about weddings just because you're getting married, but this is kind of your little baby that you can kind of take around with you and you can kind of fit your whole life in it. So that's one of the biggest things that comes in our first box. We also have one of our mesh back hats in it. So this is the Till Death Do Us Part hat. They're all like just a super great quality mesh back adjustable hat, and it's all tone on tone raised embroidery, which is I think just like really classy and awesome to wear. This
I mean,
is
I love it because you can see the quality, because that type of embroidery is not inexpensive, and it's not, one of those typical screened hats that just to me scream super cheap. Like the quality of those are
yeah.
cool.
I don't think there's not, I'd rather do less items in a box. So each of our boxes has 6 to 8 items, but I'd rather the focus on really great quality items that you're able to use a lot.
Yeah.
So I was really trying to stay away from things that were cheap or like already produced somewhere or a knockoff of whatever. I wanted to take the time and source really great products because I think that quality is just going to make such a big difference compared to also what's out there already.
Yeah.
I'd rather provide a better product and be known for that than you know, lose a bit on on the margins.
So when you get a 6-month box, how that's a lot of, okay, for one, you're designing these, you're producing all this. So you are actually now the manufacturer. I mean, you're not,
Yes.
but how do you create that much product? Because 6 months, that's a box every month with 6 or 8 items in it. That's a lot of products. So how,
It is a lot of product. It was a lot of designing. We're lucky that we have a big photography studio that a big chunk of it has been eaten up by gigantic cardboard boxes. Um, and, a very patient photography company that is okay with that. Um, and so we don't necessarily have theme boxes, but all of our boxes kind of mesh together really well. So a lot of the other kind of competitors kind of went with a super themey box. And I just could not justify ever telling someone that they need to sweat for the wedding and doing like a fitness box. Because it's just I don't know. I don't know if like what you look like makes you entitled to get married, but I just really wanted to push back against sort of all of the cheesiness and the little sayings and things that exist in weddings right now. And the perfectness of your day based on what you look like is just, you know, I think that we can see past that at this point. So um one of our boxes has some like really great date night cards that you can kind of flip up and kind of surprise each other with just little experiences. Either they're ideas to do something for free or ideas that are not expensive or ideas that are expensive. So just kind of giving people little ideas for date night. And that box has a photo frame in it. So you can take a picture while you're on your date night. So we tried to kind of incorporate things that went together so that you could have kind of fun little experiences as well. One of our boxes has like a recipe mold. So it's like you could make like heart-shaped pancakes and things.
uh,
Excuse me. But then we have a chef that we're working with who has made 2 recipes for the mold. And so when you get that box, you'll have access to that digital content, the recipe card, so you can cook along
oh,
as a
cool.
date night. So we
Love
tried
that.
to kind of incorporate things that get you excited to be married, but also like as a couple, things that are really fun. So that box also has like really cute aprons. So again, the 3 line of aprons. So there's a bride. I can just grab it. Hold on. So there's I Do and Co restaurant.
It's
And
great
then,
too because it's so modern and contemporary looking.
yeah, and
Right, it's
then
not frilly.
there's a bride, future missus, and then like a groom as well. So we just wanted to come up with like some really awesome products that you would use and really love to have that get you excited about your wedding, but like you can live your life as well.
I mean, yeah, I mean, heck, who doesn't want to do a date night? And I love the fact that you gave great ideas for fun date nights, like that. So well done. Like how many items? Okay, so now you are sourcing the product yourself. How are you? Because I know the industry that I'm in, I know how to source, but how does somebody go about? Because you're a planner, so you obviously have sourced some things, or a lot of things already. So how did you go about sourcing all of these items? Are they all the same manufacturer, or are you having like 15 different manufacturers? And
There's a lot of different manufacturers for sure. The way that we were going about it was we would like I would have like a vision for the product that I was looking for, and then we would look for that sort of naked product, and then how we could customize it, how we can produce it. A lot of our stuff is getting manufactured in China, just with the pricing, and Canada doesn't have that much manufacturing like that here. So a lot of things are getting designed here, manufactured in China. Samples will come, approved, and then gets shipped on a boat, which takes, for us, it takes just over 2 months.
I was going to ask you because we just created and they just got put on a pallet, the retail whore mugs. And it's like, 1,000 mugs is what I had to order. And they're so great. Like, I can't wait till they get it. But look, it's like they're going to be on the water for 2 months.
Yeah.
And shipping actually is as expensive as the product. I mean,
yeah, it's about double depending on how quickly you want it to get here.
like the product really wasn't expensive. It was the freaking shipping. I'm like, holy shit. Like, but I also am not doing the bill of lading and all that paperwork. I can't even bother to do that. So paying for that was what a lot of the expense came from. Are you doing your own lading paperwork, or are you having a customs agent do it?
A lot of our products are like, we're requesting that they're shipping DDP for us, which is like they're handling all of the customs. And also they're handling like the duty charges and things, because also, like, I'm sure it's similar in America, but like you can get the products and then all of a sudden it's like UPS has like, oh, and also and also you need to pay the tax and the customs and things like that on it. So when we're shipping DDP, it's just, we know exactly what it's going to be, and then we can factor it into all of our pricing and making sure that all of the costings of each box are within the threshold that we've had, and then all the values of what the items are all where we want them to be.
I can't even imagine those spreadsheets at all, just because of how many products you have. So now that have the boxes gone out yet? I know you just did your show in Toronto, and you said you had a great response to it. Were people writing orders there, or was it for other people to offer it? Because how do bridal shows go? I never went to one. I just know gift shows where you're showing to buyers.
So bridal shows, you're direct to consumer. So bridal shows would be photographers and venues and different things trying to get couples to book with them. So there's truly not a lot of like retail that happens at a bridal show, because of like the relationship that you would typically have with one of your wedding vendors. You would meet with them, it's a bit of a longer process. You wouldn't generally book then and there, because you want to see like what their portfolio is, or kind of a bit more information. But we did have couples like sign up and book and order boxes at the show, which was really, really fun. So when we like took their picture and things, it was just, we were so excited. And so people did pull the trigger at the show. We had a show special to give them a bonus item in their first box. And now those boxes have just gone out. Yeah. It was just figuring out shipping labels and all the weights and different things. And it was a lot. It was just, every time you think you figured the next thing out, there was sort of a next thing in the way, and that you had to figure out. So, but they've gotten their first box. I checked today that they've all been delivered. And so now we're just going to check in with them and just make sure everything got there okay, because these are literally the first boxes that we've shipped out. And we just kind of want to baby like the OGs, like a little bit, and just make sure that they're happy with everything and get some feedback. We also put together a great little insert with a contest to do unboxing videos for us.
That was literally on the tip of my tongue.
Yeah. So every month we'll choose a winner and give them $100 Expedia card. So We just
Great.
want to put that sort of user generated content because it's so valuable for us. And so I'm really excited. They were super like keen and super excited at the show to buy it then and there. So I think they'll be really great resources for us too.
So I have to ask you because all I can think about, because being in retail and I know what it looks like when you get shipment. So you are ordering things in the thousands and you are having them shipped to you. Do you have, I know you said it's all in the photography studio, but it is because obviously it's some type of a lineup or you're just taking the
Yeah.
box, filling it, like, what does that look like and how much space does that require? Like, it seems like you're going to need its own space.
I think it will eventually need its own space. For right now, it can borrow space. Mind you, we have 3 weekends of Santa experience photos to do
Oh my
come the
gosh,
end
you
of
do that too?
November in the studio. So we have to kind of take a lot of the box stuff. It's gonna live in our garage for like a month and then go
But what
back to the
happens to
studio.
your December month's boxes that you have to send out? Are you going to be like, excuse me, are you pre?
Well, because we know what they are already, we can pre-package as much as we can. So for us, it's not like a subscription box where every month is going to be a different one, and then there's a Christmas box, and that we have like internally, we have it figured out which boxes are what. And then if there's a product that we want to switch out, we can switch out like one product, but we're going to try to stay as consistent as we can because people aren't getting the same box twice.
Yeah.
It's just internally we can manage which boxes are going out. So we can definitely pre-package as many boxes as we need anytime to get around clearing out for, Santa and 4 sets and 3 weekends of
Okay.
launches.
I didn't even know about the Santa. Like, people say, "My God, you're so busy. I don't know how you do it." You just blew my mind. Like, you were already like crazy busy, juggling multiple. Now you just threw in Santa. So now I'm completely impressed and like, holy shit. How do you, how do you do that? How do you balance? That's always my question to retailers and to manufacturers. Like, so you you do a shit ton of things. Like, how do you balance that? Because you also have a son and a husband.
Yeah, we have 2 kids.
How do you
So I
balance
have a
this?
14-year-old and a 7-year-old. I don't think it's necessarily balance. I don't think that's ever achievable. But we focus on the parts of our businesses that we really love. And then it's planned out because I have a planning background. It's planned out like a year and a bit ahead. So we're not just deciding to do Santa at this point. We've been working on Santa in the background for months.
Wow.
So like it's just about kind of keeping like um a good level with the projects that you're working on that are going to come up and not leaving them to the last minute so that if you're ever having downtime you can make sure that that project is where it needs to be. And so I guess it's a balancing of projects and looking really really far down the road and almost time blocking your year because you know exactly what you're going to spend time on, especially like with wedding photography with our pop-ups and things like that. We already have dates set into 2024.
Mhm.
So none of those are a surprise at this point.
Yeah.
It's, and we know Santa is always going to be those 3 weekends in November and December. So it's just kind of working backwards and just knowing what's coming next and taking a lot of vacation in January and February.
Okay, good. What does it take? What does a typical day look like for you? Because you're obviously wearing a lot of hats. So do you, when you said time blocking, like, you start your morning like,
I start my morning, I check my emails, I will get the kids ready for school, and we walk the little one to school. He's 7, so we live in like kind of a smaller town, so we walk him, it's probably 10 minutes, walk him up to school. Sometimes we'll go for like a little walk around our town, and then go back home and usually start work around like 10 a.m. um, and then for me, it's a lot of office work. It's a lot of emailing. It's a lot of client management. For us, we automate wherever we can. So we are huge in 17 hats is what we use. So a lot of our emails are templated. Almost everything that pop-ups get is automated and templated for us. So that takes a lot of that sort of repetitive
that's
uh,
great.
tasks away from us. Same thing with Gary, with his photography company, all of our weddings, all of those emails and that kind of workflows are all automated for us. And that just kind of frees up the rest of the time. I have Gary and I share an assistant. She's like been a rock star about liaising with China.
Mm.
Um, so she works from home mostly, but comes to our home office once or twice a week. And then we just work around, like if it's a weekday and it's not a wedding the next day, that's a little bit different. But if it's a weekday, we work around walking to go and pick up Reese from school and being at all the things we want to do. And I would rather work earlier and work later and kind of work a weird schedule to be able to like not miss things.
So you
Because
have, that's your balance. I mean, it's like, it's beautiful to, it's like you're not in my office at 6 a.m. grind until 6 p.m. and the nanny takes the kids and bye, and we'll see
yeah,
you tonight at dinner or when I'm kissing you goodnight. I love that you're present for your son and walking him to school. And
when I was working floral and decorating, I had a big studio. We were doing 10 weddings a weekend. It was just like going all the time. I would be there from super early to super late at night. And like I missed so much things. And that's part of the reason why we got rid of that whole company was Gary and I would work the same wedding, but my stuff had to be done before he could start shooting it, right? So we were never really hanging out together. We weren't seeing each other enough.
wow.
um and so we made like in 2019 we made like a huge life shift of like getting rid of stuff that wasn't like, I guess, serving where we wanted to be and kind of what was important for us. And it wasn't that it wasn't successful. It was great. And you could have done it forever. Maybe not through COVID, which was probably really lucky that we got rid of it. But we started doing more things together as kind of thinking of what we both did as a business entity of like kind of our house, um, and doing more things together. And it's been really great. Like we always say, like we met as like a complete fluke. He's from the UK, I'm from Canada. He was literally here for 2 weeks and we kind of crossed paths and just made such a huge effort to be together.
Oh, I love
Um,
that.
so it's just, we're conscious of that and we just don't take it for granted of like, there's so many times where we're, saying to each other, it's just, you know, it'll just never be enough time. So we just want to be able to be with the kids and be able to like do the things. And when we work hard, we work really, really hard. For a pop-up day, I'm on site 8 a.m. and we'll wrap by 10 p.m. and we'll have done 7 weddings.
Oh,
So it's nonstop. Like my Apple Watch is 30,000 steps, you know,
that's like
is a lot.
when I'm doing show setups, it's always like, oh my God, I've just hit 26,000 steps and we still have 6 more hours. Like, it's
Yeah.
crazy.
Yeah. It's crazy. But those days balance out the days where you choose to be flexible and give yourself some grace to, be present and do
That's
what you do.
That's fantastic advice, and that's part of why I love these conversations about of how people balance things and where the give and take is of your schedule and your family and how you make it work and how you prioritize the time for your family as well as still prioritizing your business. I mean, I love this. This is part of the conversations that I think so many people get so much out of it and either say, okay, this is me, or this is how I'm going to try
Yeah.
doing it, or this is like great advice. But it's like, that was amazing. I love just that little bit of the conversation. I mean, I love the whole conversation. That was like so key. I always ask a couple last questions. One is, what is your advice to somebody that wants to start a new project that requires manufacturing, or something that, is like a subscription box?
Wow, okay. Get very friendly with spreadsheets before you do anything. I think and this has guided us through our photography business, our everything that we do has a cost of goods spreadsheet. So we live and die by that is our Bible. And if it doesn't fit in that, it doesn't work. So it's
Uh,
just testing your model again and again with like a realistic costing and not bullshitting yourself, because it's so easy when you want to do a project and it's like a vanity project or something you really love or whatever. It's easy to ignore all of the little bits and pieces that you're maybe spending money on, but you don't want to admit it. And we and we are ruthless just in all of our projects, that we have a spreadsheet. It goes in what the costing is. We know what our margins we want to be, and we figure out where would we be happy, what kind of margins will serve us, what's the industry regular for something like that. And if it doesn't fit in with the pricing that you were thinking or whatever, like you have to adjust it. I think it's just being laser focused. It's if you're going to treat it as a business, with any project, if you're going to treat it as a business, it has to make you money. It's not, otherwise it's a beautiful hobby and you can do that and that's can be really fulfilling. But if you want it to be a business, you have to look at all the hard things, and you have to be conscious that the costings and stuff have to be there, and it's not the fun part and it's not the sexy part of a business. But if you get that foundation solid and your spreadsheets are in order and you know that you're costing, it's like, you know, you trust your husband, I don't even have to think about it.
yeah.
It's you're so confident on your numbers that you never have to think, oh gosh, like could I do this, or is it making me money? Like, is this no, because you figured it all out. You know that the business, it's going to create XYZ if you do whatever. And I think there's like such good comfort in that. And then you can move forward and then you can do all the things, but I would say just take your time and make sure that your costing is realistic and that you're being honest with yourself of what the
Good one.
numbers that you're putting on there are true and accurate, and all of the things that you've spent money on, are included in it.
Okay, I can tell you right now that there's a shit ton of retailers going, yeah, like I don't. I mean, it's like I think you want something to work so bad that you're willing to not look at some things. And you're right. And it's like I tell my retailers, we've had 2 open to buy people. And most retailers don't work on open to buy. And they're literally like flying by the seat of their pants. Like, and the answer usually is, well, I know what's selling. And it's like, do you really? Do you know what your inventory, your sitting inventory is? Do you know what your turns are? Do you really know, like, exactly, like, I have this amount to spend, and when I go to the show, I know I have this amount to spend. Like, and
Well, you
there's
don't, well, it's just you don't want to look at it. Like it's people don't want to see that right in their face because it's just you know it's probably not right. Like and it's just you just don't want to see it. But if you have that solid foundation, like and you do know where your numbers are, you it's almost like it's like the weight off your shoulder
yeah,
is it's not just lingering there all the time. Your confidence as far as making decisions, it's just going to be so high. When I first designed, my first wedding, it's like, oh my gosh, you want it to be so pretty and you want to like do all the extras and, you do all the extras, but you're serving yourself at that point. Like
mm,
you're not serving your client. You're just doing it because it makes you feel better.
yeah.
They're not, they don't know the difference either. So, you know, I love designing and I love things, but I also love feeding my family and making money and like going on trips and, doing all the things, right? So if I know if I'm not making like good decisions and doing projects that aren't costed outright, like it's just they're not going to work. And then I'm going to be in a worse position off than I was at the
Such I
start.
this is like become my favorite question. Like, it's always the best nuggets come out of this. And my last one for you is, where do you see the I do boxes in 10 years?
I would like to sell it.
Love it.
I would love to get it to a point where the business itself, I could sell the business. So that's kind of the goal for this one. I'm creating it as like an awesome project, but in the end, it's something that I think should be bigger than what I can probably do. And I want to get it off the ground. I want it to be like really successful and lucrative, but then also see it move on to somewhere that's bigger and better. On the small scale, I wish that even locally, people that are exposed to it and they're creating a new business, I hope that they see that you should be putting thought into words when you're creating your first business. So when you're creating a new business at this point in this day and age, you should be conscious of inclusivity and you should be making those decisions um like the normal. Like there shouldn't be thought about this. This should be just how it is. I'm not in any way saving the industry or anything like that. I definitely like don't want people to think that that's my approach at all. My approach is just I was creating a new business. It's 2022. Why wouldn't it be inclusive?
Yep.
Why wouldn't you want everyone this to have the same level of celebration and access to what I'm creating? It should just be a no-brainer. So, locally, if it's, someone sending a form for information or something like that to a wedding couple, and they just change it from bride, groom to partner one, partner two, then I would say that in itself is just like maybe people just need to just think about it a little bit. And then if there's a couple little changes like that, I think I would be successful.
Well, you are certainly paving the way for this, and I I hope that people listen to this and take heed from some. But I mean, so many people that listen to this are so open, and unfortunately now with what's going on here in America, especially, it's very sad, and I fear that it possibly could get worse here if we're losing things like, I shouldn't be going down this rabbit hole, but if we're losing things of not being able to decide whether or not you're going to have an abortion, and that it may be overturned, all of the steps that have been made for same-sex marriages are possibly going to be overturned. It's heartbreaking, and it's just so gross. And I love that you're doing this, and I love that you are changing. You're the person changing or starting to change the industry, because I think it's so needed and it's so important.
Thank you so much. It's not, it doesn't take a lot to make people feel like they have a place to be. It really doesn't. It's been a matter of being just conscious of our words and, producing two other options. I
Mhm.
just don't see, like, as a business, why that couldn't be sustained in any way.
I wish
Mm.
everybody thought that too. I really do. And I'm so grateful to have this conversation, because it's like, you are smart, and you are, your hands in so many different businesses, and you obviously like know what you're doing, and you have a strong understanding of your businesses. And I think that so many people are going to take so much away from this interview. So thank you so much for spending this time with me. I really, really appreciate it.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate you giving me the opportunity. It's been I truly like meeting you at Up and you coming over afterwards. It was just such a boost of confidence for me, and it was just so sweet. And this whole box has been such a group effort of really connections that I've met at that conference,
Yeah.
all just little bits and pieces of, whether it was a recommendation for someone to work on our Shopify, or talking with Carrie doing our Clavio, you know, doing the box design with Docs Design, like
Oh,
they
Docs did
helped
it?
us.
Docs
So
helped?
so we had the box, and then did they did our booth design. They kind of took what we had and ran with it and gave us social stuff. So it's been like it's been like a real group effort getting this
I
to
love
where
it.
it is now, which is a whole other talk of, making not being afraid to like use the connections and reach out to people when you're struggling, and you have a deadline and you're trying to get things together, and everyone has been super gracious and very helpful, and using all of these different connections with different skills that they all had. So
Yeah.
it's I can't say enough great things about it for
It
sure.
was it was one of those things, and I talk about it here so much. And I'm gonna have Kat and um Allison
Alice.
back on, because I talked to them separately in the beginning, and nothing, it hadn't happened yet. So there's so much unknown. And now that the second one's coming up, I want to have them on. We're going to have them on in January, and to be able to talk to them about like how the first one went, and the planning and whatnot, and then talk about what is going on, because I just think it was one of the best experiences I've ever had. And it was like, I've never gone to something like that. And I really like, I think there's so many people that are listening that would love this event, because it obviously has brought together so many of us that I don't think I would have ever had the chance to meet some of these women ever. So
I've been to a lot of conferences, and this one in particular, for like the connections, and especially being new to products. All of our other companies are service based, so products for me is like a whole other language to learn. But it was just people, just really everyone there was specializing in just this wonderful little nugget of niche that you could just grab things from everyone. Everyone was super gracious, all very open and chatty, and you could, you were free to connect with speakers and things like that. So the vibe was great. I think the level, like the caliber of people attending was really wonderful too. So um I feel really lucky to have stumbled across it at such a pivotal moment of creating the box, because
Yeah,
it was a real, like, testing the idea, flying to Arizona, from Canada, to just get it in front of like real product people, and just one, make sure I was on the right track, but also like figure out all the things that I needed to do, and that with it. So it's for me, it was invaluable for sure.
I love that. Thank you so much. I'm so excited to see the progress of this and how this moves forward. And I won't see you. And hopefully, I'll see you at the next one. But I can't. Hopefully, you post things about your Santa, the Santa shoots, because that's my
I
favorite thing.
will,
First,
I will send you the Instagram for that.
that's
It's stunning. It's 20-minute interactive sessions with Santa. So it's just the kids just play with Santa, and we kind of shoot them doing their things. So it's
that's
not
amazing.
it's definitely not your mall Santa, and our Santa that we work with, he's wonderful. Like, parents are tell us that they're pretty sure he's the real Santa.
Tell everybody where they can find you on all your Instagram handles. We will have all of
Yes.
them in the notes for the show, but I'm sure everyone would like to check out your Instagrams.
Sure, you can check out our Instagram at idobox.ca, at Lovely Weddings Events, at Gary Evans Photography, and at mysantaexperience.ca.
Oh my God, I'm so excited. I'm going to go and follow them right now.
It is just the Christmas cheer that you're looking for.